And hello, David here. Our guest today is Diego Borgo, Senior Consultant at Adidas. Diego, could you introduce yourself and tell our audience about what you do and what you're passionate about?
Sure. Thanks, David, for having me on. Pleasure to be here and talk to your audience and hopefully bring some value. I've been a digital consultant for about 10 to 12 years now.
Uh-huh.
The old and dusty Web 2 world,
Mm-hmm.
and now since about a year, I've been moving slowly but surely into Web 3 and Metaverse, NFTs,
Mm-hmm.
cryptocurrency, all the juicy stuff, and have basically shift my career into that direction. So full-time DGen and investor into and collector, I must correct,
Mm-hmm.
within the NFT space. I've been in cryptocurrency for quite a bit, and now I'm basically working with brands around the world and trying to bring them in this new space.
Great. And before we get into the cryptocurrencies and the crypto space itself, what is your background and how did you get into the cryptosphere?
Sure. Yeah, my background basically is international relations. That's kind of like what I graduated, which is really funny because I've never actively pursued that career, and it's just being a diploma sitting in the somewhere. But what I've been doing since I was about 14 or 15 was basically building small business, building my own things, and working with agencies. So on the professional side, I've been working with agencies since I was 16, 17, creative agencies,
Mm-hmm.
digital agencies, the early days of social media, the older days of like e-commerce and all of that, creating brand campaigns and helping brands to grow and reach consumers. So that's basically my background: marketing, digital strategy. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's what I've been spending majority of my time since quite a long time now.
All right. And when was the first time you heard about crypto? Just a rough estimate, like how many years ago?
Yeah, there are two milestones, right? The first one is the one I regret the most because I heard about
Don't we
I
all?
heard I heard about Bitcoin back in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
I was in Bali. I remember that vividly. I was just hanging out with a bunch of people there, and one of the guys just talking about it and showing like graphics and talking about this new currency that's going to change the world and the way we
Right.
exchange value as humans and the ecosystem, the networks behind it, and that's going to disrupt everything, and it's going to kill the current economy. And I was like,
Yeah.
what the hell are you talking about? That's never going to happen.
We all
So
had that
Bitcoin,
friend, back in 2014, right? Like someone who
yeah,
was talking about the future.
exactly. So Bitcoin back then, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was about $400. And I was like, yeah, I mean, that sounds interesting. I'll see how that plays out. Haven't focused much on that, and
Mm-hmm.
just let that sort of like go until I realized in 2017 that what he was actually telling me made tons of sense because I
Right.
started getting much more involved into technology. I started looking a lot into like future of technology. I start hanging out with a lot of people that are from that space, the technology space in general.
Mm-hmm.
And the more they told me about things they were working on, the more sense that conversation had. So I first got my feet wet, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
in crypto around 2017. So I invested on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and about a bunch of other altcoins. So I would say, on the record, my first real move was in 2017. Since then, I've been going down the rabbit hole more and more.
Right.
But that 2014 encounter still comes here and there overnight to ghost me a little bit.
Mm-hmm. So in 2017, you realized that the cryptosphere is something you're interested in, right? So you got some hands-on experience, and then what? How'd you decide to start working in that space and apply, your knowledge and your skills?
Yeah, working came a little bit later, right? Because
Right.
my brain being really on the creative and the strategic side,
Mm-hmm.
because of my background, because of having working with agencies
Mm-hmm.
and brands for so long. For me, the initial contact with crypto was so difficult to digest because it's extremely technical.
Right.
And when you start looking from an investor point of view, it's all about charts. So
Mm-hmm.
you gotta be looking at charts and curves and why this is going up and why that's going down and da da da. And that type of thing never got me really excited. So for me, my limited vision at the time was about like the only way for you to work on this thing is to get heavy into programming, heavy into investment, and heavy into technology, which is not necessarily my core skill set and my passion. So
Hmm.
I just invested on a couple things, let it there. I kept, reading, understanding more about other projects. But once I first heard of like NFTs and things on that direction, then I decided going full time and full on and invest a lot of my time because things start resonating a little bit more with me.
And when it comes down to NFTs, is that more of an investment opportunity for you, or you also look at the artistic side? Like, what are you interested in the most?
Everything, right?
Everything, all of it.
Everything. For me, I'm a, let me put a first caveat there. I'm a Ethereum enthusiast, NFT maxi.
Hmm.
I'm very biased because I've been in the space for about a year now, and I've seen a lot, and I just think that there is absolutely no way for us to evolve as a species and a society if not through Web3 and what it brings, for example, like things like NFTs. So that's
Hmm.
the caveat, and now comes the rant. I'm excited on all of it. I'm excited on the aspect of the opportunities of investment because that's one of the cornerstones of cryptocurrency in general, which is the
Hmm.
distribution of wealth. Right, we are seeing that happening at scale right now. On my LinkedIn, I even host a curated content where I capture people talking on Twitter about how NFT has changed their life, and I
Oh.
and I basically put that out on my LinkedIn just to reach a different audience
Hmm.
and use a different channel. So if you put hashtag NFTs change my life, you'll find that, which
Oh.
it's been quite exciting just to
I will
show
check it out for
the
sure.
possibility to other people, right? So that pillar for me is really exciting, the investment, if you will, and the financial aspect of it, because now there's obviously brands coming into the space, there's obviously VC funds, and there's a lot of
Right.
money flooding in, which is not necessarily just from retailers, and that money is changing hands really rapidly because it's such a new and exciting ecosystem, right? So that's sort of like the financial and investor point of view. The other pillar, which I'm really excited about, is the creator pillar.
Hmm.
Is the art, as you mentioned before, or whatever you want to wrap creator around. That can be anything, not necessarily just art. Art is obviously one of the biggest and largest use case for NFT so far, because
Hmm.
if you think just about art itself, is the first time in history that artists are being able to make a living while you're still alive,
That
right?
is a good point. Yeah.
If you think about major artists from the past, their art just became either profitable or worldwide
Yeah.
known after they passed. And whoever has acquired that piece of art early on has had way more profit than the actual artist,
Right.
right? Which, on the other hand, right now with NFTs, because of the way the actual system works, the artist is selling the NFT right now to anyone, right, as a piece of art. But what is really exciting is because of smart contracts, you can write royalty on the contract that artist will be granted in perpetuity every time that piece of art change
Hmm.
hands. So that's really exciting. So that is on the art side because of its Bepo obviously has been making headlines for a couple of years now with his major sales. Pack has done a major sale as well this year. That's when people get to talk about art, and that's kind of like a really clear use case. But going back to the second pillar, which is sort of like the creator pillar,
Hmm.
um, anyone right now can create anything and put on chain, and if people see value on it, there is possibility of you creating a community, or you generating wealth, or you bringing people together. It's really really exciting because a lot of people now are putting a lot of skills that they were just holding for themselves for a long time,
Hmm.
especially artists, because it's such a hard work to make money or make a living on. And now they're being able to use this different medium and reach different people or
Right.
different ways and expand the medium as well. So that side of creator is really exciting. I don't know how familiar you or your audience are with what Gary Vee has done with V Friends, the
Yeah.
NFT collection, right?
It's an amazing case. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you look about it, is he an artist? Absolutely no. I mean, he understands artists. That's that person that has an incredible creative skill to do things that other people appreciate. If you think about that sense of artist, you would say no. But he has created something that has changed the perception of what an artist is,
Right.
because he is expressing himself through art, and other people are appreciating it. And now he went for auction in one of the most known, auction houses in the world, and he's been selling there. And now he's changing that narrative too. How exciting is that? That everyone that desires to
Hmm.
create something and find an audience that appreciates that as art now can be considered as an artist too. So that's
Hmm.
really exciting, right? And that's sort of like the second pillar for me on the creator side, where I see a massive potential and a massive like space to be developed within NFTs and obviously cryptocurrency and Web3.
Absolutely, and you totally read my mind. Gary V and just his vision, how he's pretty much changing history in a sense. The auction houses, the mass adoption of crypto and not just crypto, and NFT is just one of the formats. I think, right, like in the Web3. Should we say metaverse or should we not use that term yet?
I think it can be a bit confusing because there are different pillars to it.
Yeah,
Maybe we can break that down along our chat.
right.
We can start and stick to crypto and NFTs and Web3, and we can definitely
Hmm.
go down the rabbit hole of metaverse a bit down the road.
Because I read so many like different articles. I see that term online on Twitter, on other platforms, but does anyone really know what metaverse actually means? Like, what would be your take on that? How would you define metaverse at this point, in time?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think nobody knows.
Uh-huh.
I think people are claiming that they do
Right.
because thought leaders tend to do that so people follow and they can, build their narrative. I'm not necessarily bold enough, but maybe not pretentious enough to say that I know what it is because I
Mm-hmm.
don't. I think what Meta is going to do now is trying to claim ownership and buy their space in and try to build and set a big flag on metaverse by obviously rebranding to Meta and buying the copywritings and trademarks around all over the world into that word, and potentially changing the way that stocks are being traded to have a token that is
Mm-hmm.
called Meta and all of it. So they are trying to force and buy and enforce into people what that will be through their channels. So like cleaning up that side of like, do we know or what it is and who knows and who is right and who is wrong? I don't think nobody knows and nobody has that answer just yet because it's such a new space we are all getting into. If
Mm-hmm.
you ask me what I think it is,
Mm-hmm.
I think is an extremely exciting moment for us as humans to build an entire new space on which everything is possible and
Mm-hmm.
everyone can be whoever or whatever they want to be without having to be constrained to the way you were born or where you're born or how you look like or
Mm-hmm.
things you are. None that doesn't matter. It's a reset button and you can do and basically do whatever you want to do. And that's what I find really exciting because when you look into communities and avatars and all of it, and that's kind of like an interesting discussion when it comes to like products and fashion and
Mm-hmm.
wearables and all of it. Why does a shoe have to look like a shoe looks like in real life when you're in the metaverse? A shoe can be
It
anything.
doesn't. Yeah.
It can be a dragon that by wearing it you fly around. Can be because there is no limits, there is no gravity, there is no limitations to that space. So to wrap that simply, what I think is an incredible opportunity for humans to find extremely different and endless way of connecting as a species that we were never able to do before.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where we are heading to, and I think it's needed because the world is getting is smaller because we are getting more and more connected. I think COVID, the last 2 years, has played a major role into it, on
Mm-hmm.
which we all are now sitting behind screens and meeting people,
Literally.
talking to
Yeah.
people from all over the world, 24/7. Not necessarily because we couldn't go out, but now we start using that tool much better because now we had to, and now that tool is actually cool. I can talk. Like, we can talk. I don't even know where you're sitting in the world, and we having this chat right now. We don't even know each other. How exciting is that? The difference for me is the current state we are at right now. It's really boring and it's really like primitive because we are just looking into this camera screen, which is a square, and I just see you in a 2D form,
Yeah.
and we have these conversations which we can interact with anything, and it's so impersonal
Mm-hmm.
that we need a new layer to it. We need a new medium to it where we can be together somewhere else, even though we aren't physically together in the same place.
Mm-hmm.
That comes into working, that comes into meetings, that comes into gathering together, that could be concerts, that could be events, that could be sports, that could be playing games, that can be anything and
Limitless.
human interaction. And
Hmm.
that's what I think the value proposition of the metaverse is. We're creating a new environment where humans can connect in a way that was never possible before.
Absolutely. And going back to your professional experience, you did mention that you worked with Web 2 agencies, right, before Web 3 came about, right? You work with major brands. So my question is, how different is it when you start working with a brand, right, and you help them build their strategy, Web 3 strategy? As far as I'm concerned, these brands have a strict system usually in place, very organized, different departments, people who are in charge. So how different is it from other Web 2 fields? Like you show up and then what happens? How do you explain Web 3 to, say, people who never heard of it before?
Yeah, I mean, two great questions, right? Maybe we'll unpack the first
Let's do that.
first question first. Yeah, the difference is it's like black and white,
Mm-hmm.
right? Is extremely different because Web 2 has obviously consolidated ways of doing things, right? The channels. As a digital strategy is obviously I'm thinking about channels and how you push
Mm-hmm.
service and products to that and how you reach a certain audience. So the channels are laid out. You know what you can do through them. You know how they work. They are centralized, so there is someone taking 95, 99% of the value, the financial value of that channel, that being Google, that being now Meta, before Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, LinkedIn,
Mm-hmm.
whatever you call it. So you have those channels, where brands are going through, and they have to sort of like leave majority of the value into their hands. So the value exchange for brands and consumers is basically very limited, because the one that's keeping the biggest amount of value within this relationship is the middleman.
Right.
That's Web 2, right? If you think about like a simple breakdown of Web 1, 2, and 3, Web 1 was basically the moment that we finally could read things online. So we can access a database and read
Yeah.
what is being written by someone there. Very limited people had access to writing, but that's kind of like how we got to the internet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Web 2 came to a moment where you could read, but then you could also input, right? You could create, you could like have a blog or have a social media, Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
Facebook, and all of it, Twitter. And now Web 3, you come into a moment in which you can on, you can read, you can write, you can on, and you can sort of like be part of that system. So what is interesting from that, and what I'm trying to say is within that value proposition where you have three players: brand, consumers, and the
Mm-hmm.
middleman.
Mm-hmm.
Majority of the value is being left at the table to the middleman, and there's very little upside for consumers or users and the brand. Whereas on Web 3, where I see the huge upside is that you don't necessarily need the middleman anymore, because now it's a decentralized, whether it's an application or a system or a organization, whatever the medium is going to be. You're taking out the middleman, and you
Mm-hmm.
can connect directly with the community or the consumer or with the user, and not necessarily just connect to shove product or to cheap services. But now the value proposition of Web 3 is turning the creative or the creation process upside down, where a brand or a company coming together with the community and creating a new way of looking into things. Because today you have DTC, which is direct to consumer,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel the future is going to be DTC, direct to community, where people are going to get together and create and co-create with the brand and create value as a whole, rather than like one telling the other what they want.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be like everybody getting together and creating things together.
Awesome. And the second question was about, what's it like to work with people, from major brands who are not familiar, who might not be familiar with Web3 at all.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Uh-huh.
It's really exciting because we are at the forefront of one of the biggest cultural shifts since the internet. I tend to say that we are with Web 3, NFTs, and all of that,
Mm-hmm.
right now as we were with the internet in the 90s, right? So imagine how exciting it is to be part of that moment and be at the forefront of it, where you can talk to people how the future could look like, show them the tools, and get them exciting on how they could change their lives or create
Hmm.
or use that in a manner that they can either make the world a better place or make their lives a better place. It's so humbling and so exciting to onboard people. I've probably onboarded about 200 people right now, one by one, into the
200?
space. Yeah, like it's insane. I get an incredible amount of like DMs and people contacting me, just trying to figure out what this is about. It's humbling and exciting because every single person you talk to, no matter where they're from, no matter what they do, no matter the type of brain they have,
Hmm.
whether it's analytical, creative, or whatever, everybody's excited. I've never experienced that in my life.
Hmm.
Everybody's interested to know how the future could look like, and as soon as they go through, those type of like, obviously, a huge amount of barriers that there is within crypto, NFTs, and Web3 and all of it because of like UX and all of this,
Hmm.
people get so mind blown and so excited, and that's humbling, because it's so difficult to find topics where there is no debates or there is no like pushback. People are just genuinely curious and interested to know what this is all about and what they can do with it.
Hmm. Sounds like the perfect, creative space.
100%. And
Uh-huh.
that's why, going back to your question as well, when how is to work with people that don't know what this is about, I think is really exciting. It's obviously drawing because
Right.
you have to go that over and over and over and over and over through those things. And while you're working with big organizations which have, like as you said in the beginning, like really set
The structure,
systems
yeah.
and structures in place, you need to go through all of that. You need to try to respect the way the old world is and
Right.
try to show how the new world could be. And obviously there's a lot of concerns on the way, because if you start talking to certain sides of the business which are connected to legal and
Hmm.
compliance and corp and treasury,
Yeah.
they don't even want to start talking about how potentially you bring cryptocurrency into balance sheet of companies that are
Right.
public traded, because that's going to be a major issue for shareholders and for the board and for everyone involved.
Hmm.
So it can get complex because just because how the systems are. But I genuinely never got like pushback from someone calling out as a scam or any type of thing like
Hmm.
that, because people are just curious. They see the potential. It's such a great topic to talk about, and I'm so passionate about it because the potential is unlimited. And it's
Hmm.
not just for the artist, it's not just for the techie, it's not just for the programmer, it's not just for the musician, it's for everyone. No matter what you do, there is a potential for you to be part of this new economy.
Hmm. Great. Yeah. Very, very inspiring. And would you agree that at this point, the crypto space is still a niche and most people, right, in the world are probably not too familiar, with it? Would you say that that's the case?
100%.
What's your vision?
Tracking back a little bit, why I am such an NFT maxi, and I'm like going out there and
Hmm.
like trying to talk to everyone about it as much as I can, because I think it's so exciting. I feel NFTs are basically, the Trojan horse for cryptocurrency.
Is it?
It is. If you think about what companies are doing right now, so let's put some big names on big brands on the table,
Let's
right?
do
Visa
it.
has bought a cryptocurrency, a CryptoPunk. That's Visa, right? Coca-Cola has done an NFT. McDonald's has done an NFT. Adidas has obviously done an NFT,
Right.
traded on Ethereum, by the way. We've got Nike. Nike has bought Artifact, right? They
Uh-huh.
just bought a Web3 company. They just bought their way in, which is insane if you think about it.
Hmm.
But they did. How that's going to play out in the future, I'm very sure that's going to be really well for what they've done. I don't think it's the right move, but
Hmm.
5 years from now, they're going to be in one of the best positions. So they bought basically a Web3 company. What else? Help me out. What else can we?
Pepsi. There's,
Pepsi.
yeah.
Pepsi has done an NFT. All one thing all those companies have in common, if not all, but majority of them, they are on Ethereum, or
Uh-huh.
they are obviously on cryptocurrency if they are not on Ethereum. That is the Trojan horse. Would you be able to sell consumers or sell brands like the 6 or 7 we've mentioned before to buy like Bitcoin or to buy Ethereum, to
Hmm.
buy and add that into their balance sheet, or to add that aside as their product, and then get consumers, setting up their wallets and buying Ethereum or buying
Hmm.
Solana or whatever it is, or Polygon, and then going there to interact with your brand? If you wouldn't be able to add a layer of creativity or a layer of utility or value to it, absolutely not. So
Hmm.
that's why I think NFTs are the Trojan horse for cryptocurrencies, and I think NFTs have the power to rapidly accelerate exponentially the adoption of cryptocurrencies within the world. to your question, which is a really hard one to comment because I
It
can look
is.
back in 5 years and look stupid or genius. I don't know.
Either or, right?
Either or. How
Yeah.
long it's gonna take, I don't know. It's hard. I think if you want to talk like mass adoption, like as mass adoption is, which every 8 or 7 people around the world you ask will know what it's about and on and
Like
have
best case scenario, like you travel, you go somewhere, and people are familiar with the whole thing. They know how it works and what it's all about.
I think we're talking between 5 to 10 years.
That soon?
I think so. And I think so because if you look the last 2 years of macroeconomy and macro like foreigner politics and politics in general, what has happened
Hmm.
around the world, no matter where you are and who your government is and who you support and all of that, because I definitely don't want to go that direction because it's not my field of specialty.
Same.
But everyone is either concerned or pissed off with how they have been treated and how the system has dealt with everything. People are looking for other ways and other meanings of storing value, or finding potentially secondary or parallel economies on which they can store a little bit of their money because they're not so sure if this printing money thing really gonna work in the long
Like
run. So I
the.
think that's another exponential accelerator for mass adoption. A
Hmm.
lot of people I know were like, inflation is a thing, this money printing is not stopping, Corona is not making it easier. Where can I put my money? Because I know I'm not trusting this thing. And the answer is, what options have you got? You've got gold,
Yeah.
you've got
Fiat.
foods and real
Fiat
estate,
currencies. Yeah.
you've got foreigner currencies, but everyone around the world is in the same situation right now. So which currency is safe? I don't know.
Same.
And you obviously have different illiquid assets, which how much you want to put in there. And then you start seeing the surge of cryptocurrencies right now, because people are getting interested. People that dive in, they start understanding the systems, and they start seeing like you probably don't need the banks anymore.
Hmm.
You probably don't need a middleman anymore. You now can buy a stable coin like DAI, for example.
Hmm.
You can stake that in any protocol there, and that can yield you about, I don't know, 3 to 7%, depending on the risk,
Hmm.
passively, just by leaving your money there. Now, if you are into investing in stocks, which is all upside down right now, everything's just falling,
Yeah.
because we just obviously kept giving people money, so they bought a lot of stocks, and now there is no value on those stocks. You cannot get 7%. You cannot get an APY per year of 5, 6, 7%
Hmm.
without taking major risks. And inflation right now is catching up to that number in a lot of places. So people are thinking that's exciting to put money in a stable coin and just let it grow because that thing is stable. The biggest brains in the world are now working within this space
Hmm.
to accelerate, and make this sustainable. So
Hmm.
how can you bet against that? Are you betting against like Vitalik and people like that? I'm not. I'm joining them.
I wouldn't, just bet against them.
So that's kind of what I think. Obviously, it's a very long answer to your questions because I think it's complex.
But it makes sense.
A simple headline, but with that scenario in mind, NFTs leading the way. Hopefully, we will see more and more people onboarding and more people being curious about it and trying to understand. I'm trying to do all I can to
Hmm.
help anyone that wants to understand more about it and investing my personal time into it, because I believe it can be good for everyone that comes in, because there are just different ways of applications with tech development, with the current world economy, with the current world situation with governments and all of that. I think those are major plays right now that will help acceleration. Not to talk that everyone has been sitting home for a long time, pretty
Hmm.
bored, hence Bored Ape Yacht Club, right?
Yeah.
Where people are just trying to find ways of either making money or finding financial independence, so they don't have to go back to that office that they don't want to go anymore back to, and they can live anywhere because now
Hmm.
all is remote and crypto is online, is 24/7. I feel those are pretty bold moments in history that can help that acceleration, that can power that acceleration.
Hmm.
Will I go to, I don't know, very north of Tibet and talk to someone there that's going to accept cryptocurrency while I'm trying to buy bread? I'm not talking about that because
Right.
we don't even have internet in places like that. Not necessarily Tibet, because I've never been and I don't understand. But
Well, we're just waiting for Mr. Elon Musk to
there we go.
launch, yeah, his
That's another thing. As
infrastructure.
soon so like if you want to unwrap on that, which is a great point, as soon as there is internet widely available for everyone around the world, and
Hmm.
that's to be to come soon because the richest and wealthiest man on the world are racing right now to see who's going to own that, which is a separate conversation. We don't have to go there, but it's a way. It's a
Part
new
two,
ecosystem.
yeah. Hmm.
Exactly. As soon as that is widely available, there are people which, you and I are extremely lucky to don't have to even think about it. But there are a lot of people around the world right now that don't have access to banks, that
Yeah.
don't have a bank account, that don't have sustainable ways of trading with each other, right?
Hmm.
Because they're just out of the system. The systems ignore them. The systems basically don't care about them because they don't have enough for them to profit. As
Hmm.
soon as there is internet and as soon as those protocols are out there and there is education, what is holding people back to go directly to cryptocurrency and just skip all the bank stuff? What's holding them back?
Well, there's one more barrier, I would say. Governments. Some governments would definitely not be too happy about
For
the
sure.
unified infrastructure, the digital limitless space. So that might take some time as well. Would you agree?
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
100%. That's one of the biggest blockers for sure. But that is where I think countries of the future will be smart enough right now and understand how they can play the game.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's the same it's the same like 10 years ago, people talking about censorship on the internet and banning the internet, and people want to have
Mm-hmm.
access to the internet, and there's firewall and stuff. Did firewall work well in China? I don't know. I don't think so, at least not for a big amount of people.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel that as soon as there is technology and as soon as there is a huge amount of people that are interested in using or getting towards something, it will be really hard for governments to hold back. Because yes, you could argue that there is policies and there's a lot of things like that, but how do you enforce policies in a space that is majority anon? You can open a wallet right now without any KYC.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to give away any data. You put a password and that's
Mm-hmm.
it. So it's challenging. I'm not necessarily saying that that's the way, going illegally or doing things against what is your regulations in your country or anything, like
Mm-hmm.
far from it. I'm not advising or
Yeah,
I'm
public
not an
service amount,
advisor.
announcement. It's not
Exactly.
a financial advice or any advice,
I'm
but yeah,
I'm just questioning the
right.
possibilities and how much control those old structures can actually have as soon as those technologies and public interest are in place. I think it's going to be a game of adapting and trying to survive. Otherwise, you're going to start falling more and more into not so democratical places, which is
Mm-hmm.
not is definitely not the way forward. So
Mm-hmm.
if you see like what their countries already buying cryptocurrencies, putting into their sort of growth, domestic growth, right? They're seeing that as a new way of a new economy as well, yielding Bitcoin and trying
Right.
to see, or even mining, obviously, and trying to see how to create a new economy through that. So I feel there is this meme which I really find it really funny, that in the beginning was like 2010. Oh, Bitcoin is just like being traded person to person,
Yeah.
and then 3 years after, oh, it's just a small group of people, and then it's just small companies. Oh, it's just small countries, and it just keep growing from there, right?
Yeah.
And I feel it's going to be like exponential growth in that sense.
Well put. Yeah, and then it's great that you mentioned passive income as well. That's what we've been seeing, with the Guarda wallet. More and more people start exploring the crypto space, and they look at different options. They earn rewards, and it's really exciting that they realize that they don't have to go to a traditional bank. They don't have to play by the same rules as everyone else. And I think that's an interesting point you made, that it's not just betting against Ethereum. It's if a government tries to ban cryptocurrency, I would say they're betting against the future. Because
100%.
yeah, because
That's a solid statement. I love that.
thank you. Yeah, because sooner or later it's gonna happen, and chances are it's gonna be sooner than later. It's just a lot of people, and I think it has to do with the new generation as well, the Gen Z, I think it's called, right? More and more young people get into that space as well, and these people represent the future, I think.
100%.
Going back to brands, you show up, you're in charge of the Web3 strategy. Is there a traditional approach already for a company, not Pepsi, but a smaller company perhaps, to enter this space? What are the top rules? Are there any rules? Like, how do you do it? Do you just release NFTs? I think that's what many companies have been doing. What else can a brand do to get more established in the Web3 space?
Yeah, I mean, the potential is infinite, right?
Hmm.
It's as we were saying before, it's the same for the creator, it's the same for brand. What a brand should not be doing.
Let's talk about that. Sure.
Let's start with that because I think that's easier because it's so bizarre because it's happening left and right all the time.
Is it?
It's basically cash grabbing, meaning putting an NFT out there, coming inside a community, not in a native way, just saying, hey, look, I've been selling burgers, I've been selling soda forever, and you should care about us now because you always cared about us before, and here's a burger that now you can collect online.
Uh-huh.
And then people are like, okay, so what should I do with that? I don't know, like we just find it's cool. I was like, okay, so why should I hold, or why should I
Hmm.
care, or why are you coming here, and why are you telling us what is cool? Why don't you come in and sit and talk and have fun, and then we see how we could work together instead. So that's happening. 95, 99% even of the moves I've seen within the space have been like that. If you go, I think it's too early still, but come back 3 or 4 months from now and ask around the community, name 2 or 3 brands that have entered this space in a native and authentic manner,
Hmm.
and people won't be able to do 2 or 3. I think there is a huge space for brands to navigate still, but everybody's just short-sighted. Everybody's just looking, okay, that's a new channel. First of all,
Hmm.
that's how people are thinking. How can I put product through this channel? We did CRM, which works well. Our .com is pretty well sorted. Our social media strategy is pretty well sorted.
Hmm.
Now there's this NFT thing. Okay, let's just like try to shove something in and get some nice numbers for Q4 so we can,
Hmm.
make shareholders happy. That's the problem right now, which is just short-sighted. Everyone just wants to do something because they want to do it. And the bigger problem is NFT has been such a niche community, a die-hard core community, which is incredible.
Hmm.
Shout out for everyone out there that's part of Twitter space and all of it. That the amount of people that are able to consult, or the amount of people that are able to guide brands right now is so limited still. And what brands are doing instead, they're doing their traditional way, which is they're going to ginormous agencies that have absolutely no clue what's going on, and just consultant firms that are just putting nice PDFs together and selling it for hundred thousands of dollars.
So we're back to the middleman.
Exactly.
Hmm.
100%. So that's the problem, right? They're listening to people that are not from the space. They're listening to people that don't have a clue what's going on. And obviously, those people want to make a quick bucket. So they're betting into Metaverse and Web3 and NFTs
Yeah.
because this is all hot.
The buzzwords. Yeah.
Everybody's talking about it. It's all buzzwords. And they're coming to the community and being quite honestly either ignored, or if they're lucky enough they're going to be ignored, and if they aren't lucky enough, people are making a lot of fun of that, which it's really dangerous for the brand. That's how I feel, and that's my obviously personal opinion of what shouldn't be happening. Now going to the other side, to your initial point, is issuing an NFT the way to come in? Not at all. And it's really funny to see that every single brand that's coming in is coming through the same strategy, right?
Yeah.
It could be. It's obviously a great way too, because you can attach revenue straight away. You can show big numbers, and you can show engagement, and you can show aftermarket, and you can show first for minting and sales and stuff. You can obviously do. It's all very tangible, but it doesn't necessarily is the only approach.
Hmm.
There's so many different plays out there. Why don't you, as a brand, come in, just join the space? I think what Budweiser did, the first move was really cool.
What do they do?
They came in and they changed their Twitter handle to beer.eth.
Yeah, I saw that. That's right.
Super cool, right?
Hmm.
You don't need to do an NFT or anything like that. That's awesome. You came in, you understood the ecosystem, you understood ENS, you understood the value they provide to the community, you understood that is the future. You come in and you change your name, and you engage with the community.
Hmm.
Cool, awesome. But then they followed up with an NFT, and then that NFT didn't have much value behind, or much utility, I must say, behind it. And then they went quiet. So that's the danger zone, right? It's a minefield. It's complex. It's really hard. Nobody knows what is right and what is wrong right now. So when nobody knows what is right and what is wrong, why do you come in and you want to make a statement?
Hmm.
Nobody knows what's going on. Just come in, hang out, sit around. You don't come to a party shouting, "Hey, people, look at me." You come to a party, you chat around, you understand what is the vibe, and if you have some value to add, you add. So for me, what brands should be doing right now, if they want to do an NFT because someone convinced them, or because that strategy makes sense for them, I would say partner with already existing native community.
Hmm.
That's key. Find a community that the people within that community resonate with your brand, product, or service. Partner with them and learn how you can give the most amount of value possible to that community. Not what you can take out of that community, is what you can give to that community. Really important. So find community. There's so many communities out there right now, and they're so niche as well. There are communities that are like basketball only. or
Mm-hmm.
communities that are like, we want to support women to get into the space. There are communities that are into sustainability. There are communities that are into, as you said, wicked craniums. They're like
Yeah.
music festival, heavy metal. Like there is a community for everything out there right now. So
Mm-hmm.
instead of you coming and trying to build your new community, which nobody's going to care because you're a brand, nobody cares about you. Although you think people do, they don't. So
Mm-hmm.
come in and learn how to add value to an already existing community. And as soon as you do so, do it by the right manner. Come in, learn, hang out, learn how to add value. Make really clear in whatever you're doing that everybody's taking a cut. It's very
Mm-hmm.
important. I know companies are greedy; they want to make money. Everybody wants, but there is just value in a win-win-win-win situation, which was never possible before. Now it's possible. So why not using that medium? Through smart contracts that can be transparent for everyone. We
Mm-hmm.
made a deal. There are three parties involved. Every party takes a stake. It's that simple. There's value for the community. There's value for the creator. There's value for the brand.
As Gary Vee would say, you have to be transparent and honest with the community, otherwise they're not gonna buy it. They're not gonna.
Dude, it's Web3, it's blockchain. It's
Yeah.
like everything is on chain. There is no like hide and seek anymore. If you want to see what has happened, you go to either scan if you're on ETH, and you're gonna see what's happening behind that wallet, which transaction happened, from where to where the money went, what is the token. People are smart. People
Mm-hmm.
have been gone full time on this thing because they understand the value. They're smart. They're investing time. They want to challenge the status quo.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bunch of very smart rebels sitting out there right now trying to create a new economy, and you want to come in and like give burgers to them. Like, you can do better. And I'm not like making fun, because
Of
I know
course.
it's so difficult and it's so challenging being part of those organizations, and obviously everybody wants to be into the innovation side, but the best innovation right now to do is to come in, sit and learn together.
Mm-hmm.
And once you do that, then you see where you can add value, and then you build together. It's about everyone right now. It's not about you. And
That's a great point. Yeah. And before I, start asking you about your favorite NFT projects or things that you collect in the digital or offline space, we did a giveaway with the Wicked Craniums, and that was for Halloween. And that was the first time when I had a chance to learn more about the NFTs. And what I really like about those projects is that there's a story behind the actual NFT. So I think it's called lore. There's even, let's not say metaverse, but a different universe, right? That has to do with those digital items. And you learn more about what you're about to purchase. You learn more about the community. There's so many different ways to connect to people who share the same passion or interest in that particular NFT project, say on Discord, and other channels. It's completely different from what all these brands been doing before, right? Before it
totally.
was, yeah, it's like we have a meeting, right? Let's get together. Let's ask, I don't know, 10 people whether they like this, this product or not, and then we release it, and then boom, it should work. Now it's
Totally.
all transparent, and you're right. There are so many people around the world who can just check and see if the brand, one of the brands, is being sincere about the whole thing, or just using, as you said, the buzzword NFT and whatnot.
Just to complement on that, I'm part of the Big Cranium community. So the
You
Crano
are?
is what you're referring to, right? Which is basically is an app where you can create a lore about your own one cranium and stuff. They're
Mm-hmm.
doing great stuff, right? They did a NFT that you can, stake your NFT to get another NFT. That was something that was never happened before.
Mm-hmm.
They're shifting entirely their direction right now into festivals, and and into music, and into artists, and sort of like the metal, heavy metal sort of scene. It's incredible. It's really cool. And again, that's a very niche community, but still really strong, going to a very clear direction. If your brand is playing into that space, and
Mm-hmm.
you feel you can add value, and you feel that people that are within that community are the sort of like quote unquote target group, go there and hang out on Discord. Go there and meet the founders. Go there and try to add value. It's that simple. It's really interesting. It's really exciting. If I would own a big brand right now, or if I would be like on the board or CMO or whatever you want to call a big brand right now,
Mm-hmm.
the first thing I would be thinking of, and the top of my mind right now, would be how could I get IP of my brand, put that together into a DAO, for example, decentralized
Mm-hmm.
autonomous organization, invite community members, or consumers, or diehard member,
Mm-hmm.
brand supporters, to be part of the DAO, and decide together what is the future of that IP
Hmm.
that I own and that I hold and it's part of my brand. Do we want to like develop something further? Cool, let's develop that together. And then by doing so, in a very easy manner, once you already have your core audience and your research group and you're building together. So, there's this IKEA theory, which is humans feel more connected to a brand as soon as they were part of the creative process, right?
Hmm.
it's
That
it's
makes
it's
sense.
100% connection. Like that's why IKEA is so successful as well. Like you get that box and you build it and you're proud you've built it and you value that chair more than you would value a chair that arrived built, right? Really cool. So you being part of that DAO and having that IP from the brand and building with the brand, you're already going to have your initial consumers. They're going to talk to their people. So there's already organic outreach there. Potentially the product that you want to put out is already sold out. Because if your community is
Hmm.
about, I don't know, 10, 20,000, 100,000, I don't know, that people will be buying it because they're part of it. They made it happen. And what is the most exciting thing is not that then you're taking all that value out. You take
Hmm.
your stake out because you're the IP owner and you're providing value for sure. But then you give back to the community. You can have a treasury where that money is sitting at, or you can, give a proportion on fractionalized ownership or whatever it is. Obviously, it cannot be a security. Obviously, there are a lot of legislations around it. But how exciting would be to be able to co-create with your consumers rather than tell them what you
Hmm.
think they want. So that'll be my move right now. That's where I would start building community around my IP and my own brand, so you build something long lasting where everybody wins.
And that's exactly why, we reached out to the Wicked Craniums because, our audience was asking about NFTs and Guarda wallet supports, Ethereum NFTs, so people can show off, what they've been collecting. And yeah, it was a great experience just working with a completely different medium, just setting up the giveaway, and the community loved it. So, Diego, what do you collect? Let's start with digital space.
No French advice, right? As the meme say.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm a Pixel Vault maxi.
Uh-huh.
My bigger bags are there. I've been there since day one. I'm mind blown by what G Funk and
Uh-huh.
the whole team has been doing. It's incredible. I had the pleasure to meet the team to the
Oh.
latest project I was involved at with Adidas. I've been in conversations with them. I know the ins and outs, and it's solid. I've never seen anything like, from the very first day where I just bought my first Punks comic, which I was like, why the hell I'm paying like 1.5 grand for a digital comic and I'm not really into comics.
Well, now you are, right? You have to. You have to be.
Dude, those guys are building an entire ecosystem. They're challenging one of the most difficult, sector segments industries out there, which is the IP industry, right? They're a media house. They want to be the next Marvel of Web3. They want to be like this IP, empire, which
Mm-hmm.
it's all Web3, is all for the community. And this is not just they are talking, it's Web3 and it's for the community, but then they're getting like crazy money from VCs to kickstart and to get big checks and make
Mm-hmm.
big money. It's
Right.
insane that they have chosen going through the hardest path, which is fundraising through the community.
Mm-hmm.
They've done like a planetary sales, which I don't even want to go into what Pixel Vault does and what it is, because we would need at least 5 more hours, and I love talking
I'd
about
say
it, but
more,
never
more
stop.
than, yeah, probably, yeah, a whole day
So
dedicated to that conversation. So yeah.
go to Twitter, type Pixel Vault, go to punkscomic.com, learn about it, join the Discord, tag Potamus, he's the mod there. He's always happy to onboard and help you out, and go that rabbit hole. I swear you won't regret. It's an incredible community, by the way.
That's what I'm doing
Uh,
today. Yeah, tonight actually. That's my plan. Yeah.
Perfect. So what I was saying is they choose the hard way. They did a planetary sale, which is basically, they wanted to sell different planets. Each planet is a DAO. It's gonna be like a AAA game that they are building. They already have like, I think, about 200 million in
Yeah, I
funds to
saw
build
that
this
all.
game.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be play to earn. It's gonna be about staking. It's gonna be about like fighting heroes, mutants, villains in different planets. Super exciting stuff. They work with like Chris Wall, which is a fantastic artist. Audios, which is a fantastic artist too. And what they just doing, they went, okay, we will build this game, but we need this game to be owned by the community. How we do that? We did a planetary sale where people went there and bought planets. And again, each planet is a DAO, so you have fractionalized ownership of those DAOs. And they've raised 30 million in about what, a week
Yeah,
from the
it's
community, and
insane.
community owns it. So that money is going back to the community to different treasuries and all of it. So I think they might be sitting around right now. My numbers might be off because obviously I don't insider information or anything. but I think they might be sitting right now in about 200 to 250 million. I don't know. That's my guess to build this game and to build this community. And this is owned by the community. The community will decide how the game is going to develop. The community is going to decide what is the role of each of the NFTs and how things going to work. And how incredible is that? Imagine
Mm-hmm.
you as a, I don't know, 15, 14, 16 years old, being able to sit with Rockstar in a room and decide how the future of GTA would be. Like
Yeah.
that's what's happening right now with that company, and we all going to be part of it if you're an investor or a collector, call it yourself. That's incredible. So I'm obviously biased. I'm obviously way too deep. I'm obviously, I obviously bought way less than what I should because I believe it so much. But I obviously need to split my portfolio and have my limitations. Otherwise, risk is obviously really high. When we talk NFTs, we are obviously talking about a ginormous bubble, which I don't deny. The values we are seeing around, they are unsustainable. They won't
Mm-hmm.
last forever. There will be a bubble that will pop. Is no question, as it did in 2017 with ICOs and all of it, as it did with the internet. It's going to happen. It's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to be smart to know it. So the amount of risk within the space is cryptocurrency is a very risky space, and then NFTs is our added layer to that risk. So just want to put that caveat before you get too bullish and sell the house and buy mutants and apes and all of this.
More. Yeah, the Adam Driver in Star Wars. More. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like that's my favorite project. I love it. I spend a lot of time researching, understanding. They create so much details. They've done things that people don't even realize. They will realize in a couple of years from now. But it's a 6 months old company. You know, 200, 250 million in revenue, or treasury, whatever you want to call. 6 months old. They just partnered with Adidas, one of the biggest brands in the world.
You know what? I call it community management done right.
It's
I think,
incredible.
yeah.
It's incredible. And every time there is an issue, it's never like, oh, everybody's going against the team and the people that, no, they take the right decisions. They ask the community, they vote. Obviously, all those DAOs are not legally set up yet. They're working with top-notch lawyers around the world to set them up. Hopefully, will be possible to make it as legal and as compliant as possible, so everybody can have less risk of being involved in it, because it's all new. But
Mm-hmm.
they are doing their due diligence, and they're always asking, what should we be doing? Is this fair? Is this the right way? They hold town halls every week for 2-3 hours. They invest their time on being there, talking to the community, open mic, come in, ask questions, we answer. It's incredible. It's as I said, it's community management done right. I feel Sean G. Funk is a hell of an entrepreneur,
Mm-hmm.
doing it really, really well. Kudos to him, the team. And I'm excited to be part of it. The alien image you were saying before, asking me before when
Mm-hmm.
we first
Yeah.
started talking, is from there. It's a Pixel Bot Meta Hero alien, which I'm really proud to.
We're gonna use it when we publish the actual recording. We're gonna use that as your profile picture, if you don't
Exactly, that's
mind. Yeah.
me. That's who I
Okay.
am. If you
Okay.
want to see how I look like, that's me. I'm an alien, and
Okay.
that's who I am.
All right. So that's information about the NFT project. So if there's a CEO or a marketing manager working in a big brand listening to us right now, you know who to call. You call Diego, and you enter the
Mhm.
Web3 space. And speaking of that, how do these brands find you? You mentioned LinkedIn. Is that the main platform for you to connect
LinkedIn
with
is
these people?
bananas right now.
Really?
Yeah, LinkedIn is a really interesting platform for engagement, because the algorithm, it's still done in a very fair manner, that you still get exposure even though you don't have a big amount of followers. And
Mm-hmm.
by liking and commenting, this thing just starts getting a lot of organic reach. So it's absolutely insane. I'm obviously spend majority of my waking time on Discord and Twitter, because
Mm-hmm.
that's what a good DGen does. But I've been pushing a little bit of my content also on LinkedIn, because that's obviously where my profession is, and I just want to spread the word. I want to people from other channels and audiences to understand what's going on this side of the world, to the non-techie or non-DGen people to understand what's happening this side. So it's been really interesting. I'm getting a crazy amount of DMs every day, trying to answer as much as I can. A lot of shilling, obviously, a lot of people trying to
Mm-hmm.
sell and get connection without really any purpose, just like, hey, this is what we do. How can we make more
Mm-hmm.
money through you? So I try to be, humble, and just say whatever, just answer them in a good manner, but definitely not the right approach if you want to start building either connection or get in touch. So yeah, LinkedIn has been insane. A lot of people coming through. A lot of brands want to talk. A lot of brands are curious,
Hmm.
and a lot of projects too. A lot of the NFT community within LinkedIn is coming pretty strong.
I didn't
LinkedIn
know
did a
that.
very bad move at the beginning that they start banning profile pictures because that's not necessarily a way to identify you as a person.
Hmm.
So I flipped my profile picture in protest, and Hobie flipped too. They actually take that out because it's insane. You need to embrace those situations rather than fight against them. Go and ask the engagement team on Twitter what is the most engaging community they have right now, and by far they're gonna tell you the NFT community. It's
Is it?
insane. It's insane. It's an echo chamber, obviously, but it's insane. So don't fight those. Don't fight those communities or those audience trying to get into your platform. Build with them. Work with them. Apart from that, it's been great. It's the channel where a lot of people are coming, getting in touch. A lot of brands, a lot of people trying to figure it out. A lot of obviously onboarding requests. And people just trying to like, what the hell is happening? Childhood friends that haven't talked for 10 years, just trying to understand why I'm a alien now.
That's a conversation.
Yeah, so that's the place. If you want to, find me, add me, reach out. Don't be that guy or go coming in for the short sell. I definitely will answer. I'll definitely be polite as I am as I always am. But you're not building a relationship if you're doing that.
So again, you have to be sincere and transparent, and
Oh, for
just.
sure, it's a
Hmm.
win-win situation. We're moving to a new economy. Everybody wins. Everybody adds value to everybody. It's not a cold calling situation anymore.
All right, and I do have to ask you about crypto gifts. Is that something you're embracing this year? Would you say that gifting someone an NFT is a good idea?
I love it. I love it. I don't do gifting within my family. We write letters to each other, so we are more on that side of the culture. My son is 9 months old right now, so I think definitely he won't be happy with letters. So that culture might change a little bit,
Uh-huh.
but that's how we roll, right? So I'm not, but I absolutely love it. I think it's the Trojan horse. It's just an incredible way of showing someone else. People might look at it and say, okay, it's a nice picture. Thanks for that. It represents me. I will use as a profile picture. But what they don't understand is that someone is giving them the opportunity to change their life. If you're curious enough, you go down the rabbit hole. Why is this picture? Why is this project? Why are you giving me that? Where do I store that? Oh, I need a wallet. Okay, I need to open a wallet. What is a wallet? Oh, what is seed
Mm-hmm.
phrase? Oh, how do I do that? How I keep my seed phrase safe? Okay, which network is that again? Oh, is that Ethereum? Okay, what is Ethereum based? Which is that ERC 1155 token? What does that mean? What is gas? Or oh, is it Solana? Why there is no gas? What is proof of stake? What is proof of work? If you're curious, you go down that rabbit hole, and then
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna be like mind blown. And no matter what you do, there will be a space for you to do something exciting in there. I feel it's an incredible gift. It's better than anything else you could give. There are a lot of really interesting projects right now, like causes, DAOs buying piece of land where
Yeah,
you can basically protect by owning it and have reward impact. There are like a lot of interesting things apart from obviously fun and memes and all of it, which gets us going. But there are a lot of meaningful things out there too, and I feel it's a great first entrance to this space. It's I would definitely recommend if you do gifts and you think you wanna get someone into the rabbit hole.
that's the way to
I
do
would
it, right?
definitely recommend. That's the way to do it. It's incredible. And again, it doesn't have to be like within networks where you pay a lot of gas or there's a crazy cost or it's something expensive. Anything that opens the door to someone to start asking questions, because that's how you get people interested. So yeah,
That's beautiful.
after giving you the magic for how many hours you're going to be sitting and talking about it and talking about the projects you want or the cryptocurrency you want and why you think about it and what do you think it will be and what it won't be and all of it. It's so exciting. Like you and I could go on in this conversation
Yeah,
forever, I feel.
it's more than just a gift. It's an experience. It's a connection, a true connection,
100%.
because you start
100%.
sharing that experience. That's like
And again, right, could be just a token. It
sure.
could, because that values that potentially go up in value in the future, and then there is a little bit of that understanding. But again, what if it's an NFT? What
Mm-hmm.
if it's an experience? What if it's a membership to unlock an experience? That's where I start getting excited. What if is you get this NFT that now opens the door to go to a certain place physically and experience something that just the people that own this NFT have the rights to do.
Mm-hmm.
Then you blow people's mind, right? Because it's not like a paper with a code that you type in a website that you can go somewhere now. You need a wallet. You need to have that on your phone. There's an artwork. Sit somewhere else, and then you go show that you're part of that community. You join Discord. You follow them on Twitter. their giveaways, their airdrop something. It's incredible.
That is true, absolutely. And I think I represent a group of people who might not be too familiar with NFT, at least for now. So, what would be your advice to someone who might be listening to this podcast and they wonder, what should I do? I just discovered this cool new thing. Where do I start? Where do I go? Do I just go on Twitter, on Reddit, on LinkedIn? What would you say to that person?
Go on Twitter.
Twitter and then just another rabbit hole, right?
Exactly. Go on Twitter. Create an unknown account.
Uh-huh.
Create a Twitter account. That's not you. That's not your friends, because your friends gonna be freaked out as soon as you become an alien and you
Right.
start talking about this nonstop.
Uh-huh.
So avoid that layer of complexity into a thing you don't even understand, and then try to hashtag NFTs or just type NFTs on the search. Look for the people that have the biggest amount of followers, which not necessarily are the best, but they're the entry door. People that have like CryptoPunks and Bored Apes as their profile picture, they'll be long enough in the space to give you value. And ask questions, join communities. Don't DM people. Don't just like randomly DM, because nobody's gonna answer you. But then find communities, find projects you might be interested in, and join their Discord. Before getting a wallet, before getting money, before investing, if you already have a wallet, if you already have money, if you already invested, don't go and buy whatever. Research, understand, get a feeling, buy things you like, either they go up or down. You like, then you own, you're proud owner, and just learn, ask questions, be curious. There is room for everyone. It's an incredible space. If you're a photographer, there is a community of photographers doing NFTs, and you can do a lot of cool things. There are people making crazy money. There are people getting together. If you're a musician, same. If you're an artist, same. If you're a collector, same. If you like football, same. If you like basketball, same. There's something for everyone.
Great. Diego, thank you so much. I think it's been a wonderful conversation. Hope the audience likes it. And you did say it's a 2D format of communication, but who knows, maybe next time we meet up, talk about Web3, it's going to be in the Metaverse or in a different space. Can't wait to see when, what happens next and what the future brings.
Stoked for having me on.
Thank you. So our guest today is Diego Borgo. I'm David, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you.